What's going on, guys? In this week's video, we want to talk about this product right here. This is the hip thruster bench. Okay, so this is an alternative to having a hip thruster platform in your gym, home gym, or small workout area. So the hip thruster is easily becoming one of the best alternatives for strengthening your glutes and your legs. It's great because it mitigates the chances of injury when overloading your legs. Much like a squat and so forth could cause potential injury. With the thruster, again, I covered this in a previous video when we were talking about the hip thruster pad as to the benefits of using the hip thruster as an exercise movement to, again, grow your glutes and strengthen your glutes and your legs and so forth. So it's definitely something you need to add to your workout routine if you have not already. But let's move on to the product itself. When you start utilizing the hip thruster as a strong leg day exercise movement in your exercise routine, then most people end up using a regular bench. Now, the problem I was having with a regular bench was not for me, I've got a pretty long torso, but for some of my clients, the bench sits a bit higher. So once we loaded them up, they had to use their elbows to climb up onto a higher bench and then set for the position. It just took a little extra effort, and the bar wouldn't balance properly. So it was just something that caused me to look into hip thruster platforms, which is got a bench attached to an actual platform that's got bands, pegs for bands along the side so you can add resistance. Now, I was very excited to look into that option for my strength conditioning section of my gym here, but again, I don't have a lot of space in my strength conditioning area, much like somebody with a home gym. So it's got a 4 to 5 foot platform both directions, length and width. So that's just gonna take up quite a bit of space. I was so happy to come across this. And the height is perfect, and the angle here helps set you right up to where I lay right on just below my scapula, just below my shoulder blades, which is exactly where I need to be. So as I set my clients on these, it's perfect. And we, even if we're not doing loaded hip thrusters for the day, we use these for warm-ups. And then we use thigh bands and so forth, or booty bands, to fully engage. So there are also several other workouts that you're going to see that I'm going to show you some footage of, and we'll talk a little more about the benches here. I do have two sizes here. I have the large and the medium. One thing I'll say before I shift to the footage of us working out with these benches and talk a little more during that, I will say that don't even bother with the medium. Even some of my smallest clients, it's just not wide enough. I should have gotten two larges. But that said, let's check out some footage of some different types of workouts you can do with this. Again, it is a bench meant for thrusters, but you have so much variety as far as the types of exercises you can do on these benches. And I'm gonna show you some of that, and then I'll talk you through some more of how I feel about the product itself, okay? So check it out. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail about the type of exercises we're doing because they're pretty self-explanatory as you watch the video. The point of this footage is to show you the versatility of the thruster bench and all the different types of things you can do with it. You are not limited to just hip thrusters. You're fully capable of doing jumping movements, plyometrics, step-ups. You can also lay down on the bench and use barbells and dumbbells and sandbags, kettlebells, everything. It can function as a bench in itself. I wasn't fully confident before receiving it, and also when I initially received it, because it's made out of a dense foam, and I wasn't sure how long the foam would hold up if you were putting not only your body weight, but weighted loads on top of the bench. But I've had it for a few weeks now, and I have to say that we've loaded ourselves up with quite a bit of weight and been able to use the bench without any kind of indentations or wear on the foam itself. So in short, this thing is built tough and ultimately built to last, which is good because it is not cheap. It's not super expensive in comparison to a hip thrust platform, but it runs at about $199, and that doesn't include shipping. There are some savings if you buy multiple benches, but that all depends, of course, if you're buying this for your home gym or for a facility if you own a gym. What I was unsure about was whether or not this bench was made for thrusters with bands and body weight, and not so much for weighted hip thrusters. I couldn't find any footage of anyone using a barbell on these thruster benches, so I just had to get them into my gym and throw some weight on them. They seem to work out perfectly with only one problem. As you see, we have someone bracing the back of the bench so it doesn't slide backwards as we're doing our thrusters. This is what we found to be an issue. I figured because of the shape of the bench that the back end would dig into the ground and it would hold its place. When it's just your body weight, it does not slide. It holds firm to the ground. But when you start loading that thing up and driving your heels into the ground and pushing up and your body is pushing against it, it does slide a bit. You just have someone brace it, or you just put it up against the wall, problem solved. Overall, I'm very happy with these benches, and I do plan to order more for my gym. The thruster bench is available at thehipthruster.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.